plays a lot of fucking games. I said, oh, World Gamer plays a lot of fucking games. He plays all night and day. He plays his life away. Said, oh, World Gamer plays a lot of fucking games.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen the Old World Gamer, and welcome back to Depression Quest. And if you're new to this series, this is all text-based. But so far, like I said, it depicts a lot of how I feel and things that I do in my life. So it's kind of haunting me right now. It's kind of crazy. But in the last episode, we were getting more depressed apparently because I didn't realize that the suggestions or the options that I picked would make me more depressed. Because apparently that's, according to the way this game is going, that's basically what it's doing. So, anyways, right now I'm at a coffee shop with a friend from school, I guess, named Amanda, who's telling me about how great her life was and stuff. And she just asked me what's wrong, asking me about my depression. So, I guess we'll make some choices. So the choices are: insist that nothing is wrong, and change the subject. Defensively ask what she means by that. Notice that your hands are shaking. I'm gonna notice that my hands are shaking. It's such a small question, but it feels like a blow to the gut. You surprise yourself when you realize that your tightly clenched fists are now beginning to shake slightly. Despite your best efforts, you feel tears beginning to sting at your eyes. Try to disguise this by tilting your head up and praying that they'll suck back in. She suggests that you two get out of there, and you feel mortified. She offers to go back to your apartment with you, but the two of you end up talking in her car for 2 hours as the words just pour forth from you. Amanda seems unsure of what to say at times, but she listens and rubs your back as you sob and talk. She asks if you've gone to a doctor about this, and you admit that you haven't. She mentions that her mother is seeing a very good therapist in town, and offers to ask her about it. You're not thrilled about the idea of going to a therapist, and even less thrilled that Amanda might be telling someone about your problems, but she persists and tells you she'll email you the doctor's contact information later in the week. Well, that's a start. It's a glaringly sunny Monday, and one of the few days that your brother Malcolm is in town, and is in town and free long enough for you two to actually see each other. You have a dental appointment that day, but you make plans for him to pick you up afterward. Your appointment takes a little longer than expected because your dentist tells you that you started grinding your teeth in your sleep to a worrying degree. Oh. I'm pretty sure I probably did grind my teeth a little bit, but I don't think too much. Given how nearly everything in your life has been feeling enormous and stressful lately, this doesn't come as a surprise to you. He suggests that you try to reduce your stress levels and fit you for a night guard. Feels awkward and too big for your mouth. A night guard. Oh, I guess a mouth guard for at night. Anyways, it feels awkward and too big for your mouth, and you feel embarrassed looking at your puffed out face in the mirror with it in. Finish up the appointment in a hurry and leave about half an hour overdue for meeting your always punctual brother in the parking lot. You finish up as quickly as possible and leave the building to scan the parking lot for your brother's car, but you don't see his old Civic anywhere. You pass by a blue Camaro and jump as it beeps at you, causing you to jump in surprise. It takes you a moment to realize, but it's Malcolm in the driver's seat. You hop in the passenger seat and compliment him on his new ride, and he mentioned that it's a perk of a promotion he's recently obtained at work. He starts telling you about how much more money he's making, how his career is really taking off, and how he's starting to look at houses with his wife soon. Yeah. You clutch the bag containing the night guard in your hand. You feel yourself clench your teeth as you think of your crummy apartment and how long it's been since you've been able to take a day off work without having to worry about making ends meet. He's only 2 years older than you, but it feels like he's eons ahead of you in every other aspect of your lives. So, he asks, how did your appointment go? Did you get drilled full of holes or what? A sense of shame creeps over you. Tell him it was a routine cleaning. Tell him about your tooth grinding problem, but not the stress causing it. Tell him about the tooth grinding. The dentist said I'm apparently grinding my teeth too much when I sleep. Oh? Malcolm replies. Been stressed out lately, kiddo? deciding that you don't really want to go into it. You tell him that you don't think that's the case. It's probably just a random thing. He doesn't pry farther, and instead begins reminiscing with you about the time you chipped a baby tooth because he accidentally knocked you over once. You go out for dinner and catch up on things, but you still feel somewhat distracted by the gnawing anxiety in the back of your mind. Though you enjoy your brother's company, you still feel like you want nothing more than to go home and hide from the world tonight. It becomes hard for you to try to stuff all of your horrible feelings down and go emotionless. When someone like the dentist can see a fraction of what goes on inside your head, it leaves you feeling embarrassed and weak, and you hate yourself for that feeling that way. You wonder if you're really fooling anyone into thinking you're a normal person. Then you wonder if your brother knows and is hanging out with you out of pity tonight. After he drops you back at your apartment, you throw the night guard out. You can't stand to even look at the thing. It's a dry Sunday morning. You grab your morning coffee and sit down at your desk to check your email. A new message pops up in your inbox almost as soon as you do. It's from Amanda, and you remember her meeting you in the cafe and awkwardly bringing up your feelings to her. "Hey, buddy," is the subject. Buddy. "Hey, sorry it's been a few weeks. I meant to get this to you sooner, but it took a while for me to get a hold of my folks back home. Dad told me to say hi, by the way. Anyways, I remember what we talked about last time I saw you, and I hope you aren't insulted, but I asked my mom for the number for a therapist. Don't worry, I didn't tell her who it was for. I think she's worried about me now, though." Anyway, the number is 647-723-5274. I bet you that's a real number. I would be surprised. It's a really good office. You should look into it. Talking to someone never hurts. If you're worried about money, don't be. They're one of the few that has a really good sliding scale fee system and won't charge you what you can't afford. I hope you're feeling better. It was really nice to see you again. Hey, it's still early enough that you could call and make an appointment today. What do? I could sleep on it and see how you're feeling in the morning. You're not keen on the idea at all, but you don't want to disappoint Amanda. I closed the email without thinking more of it. This has been embarrassing enough already. No, I want to at least try it. The thought of picking up the phone and calling someone about this right now is overwhelming. Sure, you're having a hard time lately and have motivation issues, but are you really in need of therapy? Shouldn't you be able to just get over it yourself? What if they put you on medication that makes you feel like a zombie? What if you go and the therapist looks down on you? What will Alex think about this? Trying to think about all these things at once makes it feel like a very big deal. You decide to take your time to think on it. The rest of the day passes quickly, and that night you have a hard time trying to sleep because your brain is too busy thinking about all these things and imagining all the ways it could go horribly wrong. The next morning you check your email again with blurry eyes. Amanda's email is still there, seemingly waiting for you. You are no more decided than you were yesterday. I'm going to call after wrestling with it for a few minutes longer. Only for the fact that, in my own life, it wasn't a therapist that I was going to see. I was going to see a doctor about getting put on medication. And I actually went and got on the medication, and then I didn't really keep taking it. So I'm wondering if that's going to be an option here soon enough. So I'm going to call after wrestling with it for a few minutes longer. You read through Amanda's email 2 or 3 times, then sit and stare at your computer for a while. While the memory of that uncomfortable conversation makes you feel newly embarrassed and self-conscious, part of you is also encouraged by the fact that she cared enough to get back to you at all. Sitting in front of your computer, you start to question things like whether or not Amanda sent you this number out of pity, or perhaps some sense of obligation after having listened to you. You question her motives and the validity of her concern, and whether or not you think seeing a therapist would even be helpful. Yet, almost unconsciously, you reach for your phone, and before you realize what's happening, you're listening to the therapist's line ring. Before you bring yourself to hang up, you're listening to the slightly clinical but not unpleasant voice of the receptionist ask how she can help you. I'd like to make an appointment with the doctor. You manage to stammer out. The conversation is quick and not nearly as unpleasant as you were fearing, and quicker than you can say Freudian slip. You've scheduled an appointment. I guess that's a Freudian slip. Freudian slip. You schedule an appointment. Quicker than you realize, appointment day rolls around. What do you do? Okay, I'm going. For some reason, the little thing's gone off the screen, the blue box. But head to the therapist's office, even though you're totally unsure of what to expect. Sit in your car terrified and try to talk yourself into or out of going. Just the thought of going to your appointment ties your stomach in knots. You crawl back into bed. I'm going to go to the therapist's office. You have your first session with your new therapist, Dr. Susan Melville, a tall woman in her mid-40s with a disarming demeanor and patient eyes, the start of the slightest smile lines. She makes you feel comfortable fairly easily, which is a pleasant surprise after all of your anxiety over the appointment. Jesus, what's wrong with my reading today? As you leave, you make a second appointment. You're still skeptical about all this, but you figure you might as well see where this goes. The hardest part, it seems, was taking the first step. You're still not sure of if and how you're going to tell your family or your partner, but you figure you'll deal with that when the time comes. Either way, you feel relieved that you managed to see this through instead of being paralyzed with worry over it. Even if nothing comes out of it, you did something you said you would instead of flaking out or running away. You're emotionally exhausted when you get home and collapse into bed. You sleep better that night than you have in a week. You're not sure if it's because you were so tired when you got home or it's because of the therapist. Good. I have days like that. It is early on a Wednesday morning. Lately, you've developed a nasty habit of waking up 10 to 20 minutes before your alarm rings, and unfortunately today is no exception. You lay in bed each minute, ticking closer and closer to wake-up time and passing on a swelling wave of ever-encroaching dread. Sooner than you would like, your alarm blares with caustic inevitability. You frantically pound the snooze button and retreat under your blankets, as if the warmth of your comforter could shield you from the passage of time. You almost always have difficulty rising from bed, but today that simple task seems nothing short of Herculean. After several, they're using words that they really don't need to in this, but I guess the descriptive words are better than nothing. After several snooze cycles, you decide that you just can't deal with work today. You're incapable of even rousing yourself from bed, let alone going into work and having to force yourself through a work day. Not to mention, you've snoozed so many times that it would be possible to make it on time now anyways. What do? Heading to work, at least you can leave early if it gets too unbearable. Call your boss and tell him you're sick and won't be in today. Let's head into work. In spite of the fact that your body is actively fighting you literally every step of the way, you somehow manage to drag yourself out of bed and make your way into work. Surprisingly, you end up only being about 5 minutes late and nobody seems to notice or care. Though, when you woke up, the simple act of being even physically present at your job seemed like an impossibility. You were surprised at your own ability to push on through the day while you are far from enjoying or indeed even really coping with the dullness of your job today. You seem to have slipped into a trance-like state, automation, and time is nevertheless passing. Eventually, the end of the day rolls around and you head home, utterly exhausted, but at the same time almost proud of yourself for having stuck it out. I'm not deeply depressed anymore, that's good. Next, it's 2 a.m. on a Sunday, and you have work in the morning. You roll over to see a sticky... Oh, whoa. Okay, I just seen everything crossed out down there. You roll over to see a sickly green glow of the time displayed on your LED alarm clock and let out an exasperated sigh. You've been trying to fall asleep for over 3 hours now to no avail. Every time your head hits the pillow, you've overcome the anxious thoughts that wrap themselves around each other. Worries about your job lead to worries about your future, lead to worries about your very identity, and you're unable to shake them off long enough to doze off. Your eyes won't stay shut as your mind races through imagined scenarios going horribly wrong, which you probably attribute to your general worthlessness. Your thoughts run too fast for you to come to a satisfying conclusion of any one of them. Your room is completely silent, but the silence has given way to a loud static noise rattling around inside your head. Your heart beats loudly and you worry it's beating a little too fast. You worry that if you focus too strongly on your racing heart, you freak yourself out hard enough that you'll have a heart attack. You have to be awake for work in a mere 8 hours. And you know that your work is so much worse on only a few hours sleep. What do? Well, apparently I can't force myself to sleep. I can't go to bed. It shouldn't be hard. Or I can't close my eyes and let it happen. I can't snap out of it and tell myself to stop stressing out. And... Well, the only thing I can choose is go to your computer. Sleep is clearly not happening no matter how long you lay there. Oh, you get out of bed and head to your desk. Laying in bed with nothing but your thoughts to keep you company makes you feel like you're going insane. The harshness of the light coming from the screen makes you squint as you turn it on, despite how often you find yourself in this exact situation. There have been so many nights lately just like this. As you begin reading a news story, an online friend of yours IMs you. Attic? That's weird. That's a different name. I've never known anyone with the name Attic. Oh, well, my name is Living Room. You're up late again, I see. Yeah, I can't sleep. Again. Thinking too much? Thinking? Need to correct himself. You guessed it. Want to talk about it? You end up talking with Attic for quite some time about how you've been feeling. He's always been easy to talk to about personal matters, and the added security of talking online helps. Being able to rethink what you say as you type it out and check it before you send it helps you gather your thoughts. You find it less intimidating in a way to type it all into a prompt than say it out loud. I don't want to be that guy who thinks they can diagnose something because I read a Wikipedia article, but it sounds like you might have depression. You should talk to someone about that, like a doctor. You pause. Are you really that transparent? Or is it that you've gotten used to talking about your feelings at this point? It's something that makes you a little paranoid, but you shake it off. We can do some research and see if there's a good doctor near you. It's not like you're going back to sleep anytime soon anyway. Might as well do something while you're awake. Man, I wish I had a friend like that late night. When I can't sleep, that'd be awesome. No, that's okay. Actually, I've talked to someone about it. Apparently, I'm very depressed again. I went from being just regular depressed to being very depressed. Actually, I've talked to someone about it. Oh, okay. I'm glad you're taking that step. First, it's not an easy one. I know people kind of suck at understanding this sort of stuff sometimes, but there's nothing wrong with having depression. You wouldn't be ashamed to have bronchitis or something. There's no reason to be ashamed if it's your brain that's sick instead. Spend a few more minutes talking with Attic about your therapy and your feelings about it. He's incredibly supportive, and you're happy to find that you have a confidant that understands your illness and is willing to lend an ear when you're having nights like this. A little while later, you fall back into bed and find it easier to drift off to sleep. Even in therapy, you know you're still going to have nights like these sometimes. It's good to know you have a friend who can help carry you through them. Okay, I'm just back to being regularly depressed again. That's good. It's a chilly Thursday night, and you've just gotten off work. This has felt like one of the longest days you've faced in recent memory. Even though nothing exceptional had happened, a ton of minor things kept going wrong, and coworkers had tried your patience throughout the day. You considered leaving work early, but the last thing you want to do is deal with your insufferable boss on top of everything else. You're lost in thought on the commute home, and your feelings of frustration both with your life and world around you build as you run into minor annoyances like someone bumping into you hard as they walk by. By the time you get home, you're exhausted and remember that these feelings were ones you identified as a negative feedback loop with your therapist. These pent-up feelings aren't dying down, and they're eating at you. You open your front door and stare at your apartment. An overwhelming feeling of exhaustion overcomes you, and you feel like your energy levels are low enough that you'll likely settle into a single activity tonight. What do you do? Look for someone. Reach out to someone close to you. Why not? What about your girlfriend Alex, dude? Your head feels too noisy. You need to trade it for some actual conversation. Your therapist did say that it was important to reach out to your support network, so you might as well give it a shot. Your mother, she unconditionally loves you even if she doesn't always understand you. Your girlfriend? Well, she's your girlfriend, Alex. And Malcolm, he's family and fun to talk to. I would say the girlfriend. You dial Alex, who picks up only after 2 rings. You ask if she has time to talk, and she tells you she's just hanging around in her PJs and actually somewhat bored for once due to being caught up on her coursework. You try to figure out where to start with how you're feeling and are overcome with mincing her face. You guess she feels like grabbing some dinner. You notice her barely contained surprise and delight on the other end of the line. You meet about half an hour later at an inexpensive diner not far from your apartment. While the food is not great, you're surprised by how much your mood seems to have elevated just being in her company. While at first you were extremely hesitant to talk about your job situation for fear of being burdensome or sounding like a whiner, you see her listening intently to you with what even to you seems to be genuine concern. After winding down with a beer, you consciously open up a little bit more about your feelings surrounding your job and how drained it leaves you feeling. How you feel like you're simply existing, selling days of your life for no real purpose. You surprise even yourself when you start talking about how frustrated and stymied you feel by your job, about how you used to feel passionately about things but feel like all your energy and capacity for creativity is getting leached out of you each and every workday. You can't remember how long it's been since you've externalized this much raw emotion. The two of you spend several hours in that diner booth, long after your half-eaten food was cleared and waitress stopped refilling your coffee cups. As you get up to leave, a sudden wave of self-consciousness washes over you and you suddenly feel incredibly awkward. Then Alex stands up and grabs you tightly around your waist. You realize that, short of boring her with your seemingly endless rants, she's simply happy to have gotten a chance to spend time, real time, with you. It's been, by all accounts, incredibly too long since you've allowed yourself to open up like this. There's an almost palpable feeling of closeness you allow yourself to hold on to as you go to bed that night. Okay, so far so good. I'm going to end it here for today, everybody. Again, I hope you are enjoying this. I hope this is actually helping people as well. And I'm hoping that a lot of you who do watch this do make the, the connection there that there are people who do have to deal with this stuff, and it is I thought this is actually going to be more of I thought it was going to be a platforming type game, to be quite honest, but or like a point and click, but it's been all text so far, but it's been hitting close to home for me, and it's been very truthful, and again, I assume it's because a lot of people out there do deal with the same things. The same, they handle their depression the same ways, because a lot of, like I said, most of the stuff, and I'm going to be doing this throughout the entire series, but a lot of the stuff that I noticed that's the same for me that's in this is the same for me, and right now I'm having a bit of a time to actually talk to that, just because the last part there where he was with his girlfriend kind of hit me a little bit harder, because I feel like that sometimes myself. So, yeah, so far, like I said, it's hitting very close to home to me. So, I'm enjoying this so far. I know it's text-based, and I'm well aware of that. Out of the almost 700 people that subscribe to me, if I get 10, I'll be lucky, but yeah, I hope you guys keep watching this. Leave any comments you have. If you ever want to talk about this kind of stuff, if you are someone who does have a lot of depression, take it from me, someone who does have depression. If you need someone to talk to, message me. I'm more than happy to talk to you about this kind of stuff. I know it's hard, and I'm 31 years old. I've dealt with more than enough stuff, and I'm still dealing with stuff. So I do know where a lot of this, scenarios are coming from. So again, if you need to talk about it and you have nobody else, by all means message me. I'm more than happy to help you get through it as well. And if not me, then go and find someone else who can, and don't be afraid to go and see a doctor at the very least. They'll give you a mild prescription, usually something called Effexor, and it's not as bad as you might think. And I know I said in another episode, or maybe it was earlier in this one, that I stopped taking it after I got it, but after that, you should be able to get into it more or less. So, anyways, I've been rambling a little bit, but I hope again that this is helping some people out there. As always, thank you all for watching. I'm Stephanie Old World Gamer, and I will see you all soon for a new episode. See ya.